Hi, this is a video on understanding Frazetta, and something that helped me understand Frazetta was the art of J. Allen St. John. Frazetta mentions him in the book a lot. I started off with these two images because when I first saw Frazetta's tiger, I was like, man, that is the coolest looking tiger I've ever seen, or alien-like beast. It's beautiful. And he kept mentioning this artist as I ordered the book, and I was like, wow, there's certain similarities, They don't look exactly the same, but I can see that there's a reason why he mentions his name a lot, you know? Look at the colors that he's using. Purples, greens, reds, canary yellow. And you see that same type of colors in Frazetta's palettes as well. It's all over the place. And the purples and pinks and yellow, and it's very cool. I appreciate all the likes and subscriptions and encouragement to want to do more videos. So I thought I'd follow up with this one. And why don't we just take a look a little bit on this artist here. That's the man. Watching his work helped me understand where Frazetta getting the sensibilities from, who inspired him, or what he looked at. He has a lot of really nice stuff. Tarzan's pretty good. Sorry about that. Let's look at this Tarzan. It's nice. I've been animating a lot, been busy at work, so I haven't had the opportunity to do a video, so I'm here doing a video now, and I'll try to regularly update. Look at that. That's so cool. I believe he did a pen rendering of this. I was born in Tarzana, California. There's a bank there that holds the original sketch. I thought that was pretty neat. I used to look at that when I was a kid. Wow, that's by Jeffrey Jones. Him and Bernie Wrightson, they're gods. I'll do a video on him or show you a book on Jeffrey Jones, but Jeffrey Jones and Bernie Wrightson and other artists would we're big fans of Frazetta. Oh, look at that. I believe Frazetta did something similar to that. He used like the same composition, I believe. Let's take a look. I believe it's in this book actually. My videos are pretty organic. I don't do a lot of editing, so everyone's gonna get it raw. Hear me make mistakes. It's part of the reasons why it's so hard to make videos, and it's just thinking of the editing process is quite overwhelming. I could have sworn it was in this book, but I do believe it is in one of his many books. Too bad. It's in here somewhere. It's all good. Look at that. That's so cool. Look at the shape language on that. It's really nice. This definitely looks, you can see that the shape is very familiar when I see some of Frazetta's work. It's really elegant stuff. I love how the design of these creatures back in the days, how people perceived aliens. It's very fascinating. Oh, so good. Look at that. That is great. Whoa, who did this? This is an amazing figure. It's nice. So is this though. Look at that back. Look at that. Very Frazetta-like. This one's a good one right there. This reminds me of some Bernie Wrightson drawings. I'll name drop and hopefully somebody will ask me to make a video on it. I believe this is Roy Crinkle, isn't it? Oh, it's not St. John. I believe Roy did something that looked kind of similar. Oh, there's Roy's stuff right there. Gosh, and then look where Frazetta takes it. Oof. It's a hell of a... Yeah, it's tough to beat. Just, I mean, forget drawing, forget all of it. I mean, just look at the composition. Just the way he put everything together, where the sun is, you know. It's really pretty. Oh, it's tough. These knuckles remind me of Glenn Keane's Tarzan a little bit from the Disney film. Hey, there you go. Look at that. That looks very familiar. That looks like, yeah, I've seen Frazetta paint stuff like that. I mean, I know it's in this book. Let's take a look. Okay, it's not there, but I definitely feel those sensibilities. Well, my apologies. I didn't do a good job picking the right book. But that is so, you can see now where Frazetta was influenced. You know, it's interesting because I can see more painting and color choices and some composition and some drawing. I mean, that looks like a Frazetta leg too. This guy is great. He has a lot of neat stuff. You know, I think Frazetta did like an ink drawing of the John Carter Venus, but in a different pose. So cool. Oh, that's a really cool piece. That's the drawing I saw at the bank in Tarzana, California. I just stare at this thing forever. Nice that is. Oh, that's great. Look at that. That's good. Yeah. He's great. Let's take a look at this stuff. I haven't seen this book in a long time. Ah, man, look at that figure. There's just too much going on here that it's just ridiculous. It's so organic. What a jump, huh? Look what he was doing. These kind of remind me of Bern Hogarth like drawings. And then you get this big leap in development. Whew. I used to draw their faces all day. It's just so good. Ah, it's a drawing. Somebody mentioned, made a comment about gesture drawing. I have my opinions on gesture drawings. And watching Frank do gesture drawings, well, I didn't watch him do it, but I was looking at his lines, and I've noticed that a lot of artists, they kind of do this thing where, you know, a gesture drawing, like I see in the YouTube videos, it takes them like forever to do a gesture drawing. Like I mean, like 30, 50, I don't know, like an hour to do a gesture drawing. But really, I learned to do gesture drawings from animation. But when we animate, so like for example, if we're gonna do this and that's the figure we're gonna draw, this is gesture drawing. Yeah, that's good. That's it. That's gesture drawing. That's the gesture. So now the question is, how do we make sense of this? Well, a lot of people try to do stuff like this where they put paper on top of it and they take this gesture drawing literally. That's not the idea. That doesn't work for me. I learned to approach it a different way. What I like to do, and this is again watching Frazetta in a sketchbook, like the way he gesture draws, it's very loose stuff, very nice. And again, learning animation taught me a lot. But what I tend to do now is when I do the gesture drawing, I'll have something like that as a guide to inspire me, because the gesture drawing has so much life and vitality that I'm like, oh, cool, I don't ever want to lose that. So I always use it as a reference point. And then what I do is I make sense of it.
Power off.
And when I draw these things, what I do is I don't trace it or copy it. What I'm trying to do is understand what he's doing. Like there might be some errors that I have in there that are not exact, but I'm not trying to do an exact drawing. I'm not trying to do like what a photocopy machine can do. The intent here is to work on my gesture drawing and then start cleaning up the drawing, you know, making sense of it. And I don't like falling in love with my drawing because then I don't try new things. I love to try new things. And I like working with pen because it takes away the whole, like, I'm not a big fan of Control Z. I can't stand it. I like to doubt myself, you know, and I like seeing all the mistakes. And what better way than to ingrain it and carve it in with the pen? Then the idea is so I could just have some growth and not be ashamed of what I do and don't understand. Sorry for the glare. That's gesture drawing. And this is me staying inspired by my gesture drawing. Gesture drawing is meant to grab the gesture and be spontaneous about it. Frazetta's sketches are so just that, very, man, they're so just loose and spontaneous. They're not careful. Like I've seen some artists do stuff like this. You know, it's like, whoa, man, like gesture, you know, the gesture drawing is let's get the gesture down, you know, because when you're careful like this, it feels like you're actually trying to control what you're doing. When you're doing gesture, you're, it actually reveals the life in the drawing, and just trying to nail the spirit and feeling down, which I think Frazetta was great. The one drawing that comes to mind, he did this soldier in a comic book. It's great, and you can just feel the movement in this guy holding a gun. It was just this guy with a helmet, and it's really nice. Just, gosh, such a great drawing. It was so scribbly, something like that. It's very odd to describe, and yeah, it's what animators would do, and I've seen animators draw this rough, and they haul it out real quick. And if you guys get the opportunity to see some of my videos in animation, I am this scribbly when I animate. And then if I like it and I want to commit to it, then I'll put it on model. The interesting part is I learned to do gesture drawing learning animation. Frank was not an animator and already had that in him. I got into animation because I wanted to understand Frank Frazetta. I don't know how he was able to do it as much as he did, not knowing animation. But real, the guy has like weight to his stuff. There's the man. See these Jaguar guys? It's really cool looking at those things because it reminds me of what we were looking at the St. John Allen. I could call him Saint. Sorry, I don't think his name is Saint. I like see the ST and I'm like St. John Allen. Apologies to his family. Pretty ignorant. Sorry about that. But great. Look at that. It's really nice. This is one of my favorite figures. So good. So good. Oh man, those legs. Again, I apologize for the fuzziness. These videos are called Understanding Frazetta. I just want to clarify, I'm out to understand how Frazetta's doing stuff and sharing what I understand, what I, regarding his work. I've never spoken to him. I don't know him. I wish I had, and wish we hung out and shared stuff. But these are just theories that I have, and how he must have had approached it. Just watching his drawings has led me into avenues of caricature, animation, sculpture. And when I got into these fields and I learned the disciplines, they helped me understand what I'm looking at. Because a lot of the times when people talk about Frazetta's work, they're just like, he's great, he's great, he's great. But that doesn't help me. I want to know why he's great. And when you get educated and you learn a little bit about the mediums of sculpture, caricature, and animation, then you're able to see, because even in animation, I'm able to see, okay, it looks like that guy knows what he's doing. He knows movement or he knows drawing. And when I'm seeing this stuff, I'm like, okay, this is a ton of mixture of design and really great anatomy. And apparently it looks like you can see things in 3D. All this stuff looks so sculptural, especially this figure down here. Look at that shape. Jeez. Look at that. Strong. Just really knows his stuff. I mean, if we had to do a gesture drawing, this is, you know, like feeling out. Just grind that thing out, you know? And then do it one more time, and from that inspiration of this one drawing, just nailing it, you know? This is the time where I'm careful and I want to do a good job. What I like about animation is that animation is all about the science of movement and physics. I just don't think, I'm sorry for saying this, and so it might be a little judgmental a little bit, but when you're doing animation, you're constantly studying movement. I just don't see that in illustrators. You know, illustrators, I don't think, you know, have that thing that animators have, you know, where the drawings look like they're moving. Frazetta has that gift that all his stuff looks like they're moving, you know. It just has that really nice raw power of that. I think so dynamic. Isn't that pretty? You know how sophisticated this one drawing is? Jeez, so in 3D, I'm also a 3D animator and a 2D animator. What happens is when you get rigs, you get them very like stale. So an example would be something like this. And let's say this is the side view. And then their arms would be like straight. We call this the T pose. Okay. Now, it's our job as animators to make sure that the first pose is dynamic. Like, it's great, you know. And I studied a lot of anatomy, and these minor adjustments will make the difference. Isn't that interesting? Just tilting the torso so it feels like it's doing this, like traveling this way, this way, this way. It's just amazing how, like, I mean, this way. It's just amazing how our bodies are so dynamic even when it's standing still. And I look at that figure, and this is what it reminds me of. It's just, you know, it might look like it's straight, but it's constantly in movement. Things look like it's moving, but it's not. And again, this is what I learned in animation. And Frazetta's no animator, but definitely understands that naturally. It's just quite phenomenal. Feels fun geeking about his work again. It's been some time. Oh man, look at that pose. That is strong. Look at that. Bam. That is, look at that. Gosh. And then look how that goes into that. That's just so cool. It's just doing these odd shapes. Oh, man. It's crazy what you can do. And if you like break it down. That interesting. I swear, I think the guy had like a 3D mind. You know, how he was able to do stuff like that. You know, somebody who approaches drawing with just a bunch of circles, it would be tough to nail that illusion down. The reason why I say that is because that's how I learned to draw, just a bunch of circles. I had to learn this stuff and learn to see everything like this. And when I did learn to see everything like this, I see that Frazetta does it everywhere. Great balance of circular drawing and a lot of construction. And learning that, I'm able to understand his work. It is definitely how I understand Frazetta. So that's real nice how the twist. So much going on there. Well, I hope you liked the video. Please, I'd like to hear comments, subscriptions. Would be nice. And I hope you enjoyed the drawings. And I hope this helped you out in any way or shape or form. I like sharing what I do and how I understand things. And if anybody wants to request for any topic regarding Frazetta or anything else, just let me know. I like to make videos. Cool? Well, I'll end it with that image. Right? Thanks.